Too many people are chasing the next best thing, AI, crypto, and all the other things. And then they're wondering why they're not getting ahead financially. But to tell you the truth, the issue is not what you buy, it's how you think. So today we're going to dive into the number one mistake that people make when it comes to investing. And it's 2025. We're almost at the end. We don't want to bring that number one mistake over into 2026 and we're left not getting ahead financially. So let's jump right in. So I'm going to talk about the mistakes. I'm going to talk about the issue that causes that mistake. And then I'm going to talk about what we can do instead. What do we need to do instead of this big mistake? So when it comes to the mistake, right? A lot of people, and let me talk about the mistake here. A lot of people, it's so big. They buy what's trending. Now, I used to do this. I used to be in a Discord. And yes, I used to definitely buy what's trending based on what's being talked about in the Discord. That's not a good idea, okay? Because people will hype you up and, you will be like, oh, this is going well. Let me buy this. And the next thing you know, they sell off and you're losing money. So buying what's trending is definitely not a good idea. All right. The next thing that you want to revert from is investing without goals, right? Investing without goals. This is very important because you're investing without goals. That means you don't know your purpose of investing and you're just doing it for fun. Okay. And that's not, you can invest for fun, but that will also impact how your money moves. I always talk about that on this channel. You want to make sure you have a goal to know how to move in your portfolio. Okay. And then the next thing that a lot of people do is they don't know how to invest, right? Or they don't know how investment fits in their portfolio or their plan for the future. And you got to know this, right? You got to know this, let's say for wealth, right? How does investment come into play? For me, as it relates to investment, I'm looking at a future where I don't have to work for money. Understand? It's not like I'm teaching or I'm talking to my kids. I don't want to work for money all the days of my life. Okay. And so for me, that's what investment is allowing me to do. Like in the book, The Psychology of Money, Morgan, I think, is the author. He says, wealth is a decision or a choice between you having the money to buy something and deciding not to. So you're distancing yourself from not having money because you now save your money instead of spending it. And so for me, I don't want to work for money all the days of my life. I don't want to have to get up and go to somebody's job, clock in, whatever the case may be. I don't know about you, but that's what investment is doing for me. It's given me that opportunity to buy back my time so that I can look in the long future, the long haul, and don't have to work for money. So the biggest mistakes, or these are, it's a big mistake, but it's all stemming to one big thing, right? These three things are stemming to one big thing because people are buying emotionally, right? You buy emotionally, and then that affects all that you do. Okay. So we don't want to do that in 2025. I'm sorry, 26. We're leaving that. We're leaving that in 2025. So in 2026, we're discarding buying emotionally, right? Because when you think about, investing emotionally, you can compare that to, let's say, when you're driving with a GPS, you will move far, or well, you move fast. Let's say that, right? Because the GPS is telling you, well, let's say you're driving. If you have a GPS, which is your plan, and you have a strategic plan or a goal, whatever the case may be, you know where you're going. But if you don't have a GPS, you might be driving fast, or you might think you're getting somewhere, right? But at the end of the day, you're lost. You end up at a destination that you're like, wait, where am I here? How did I get here? Type of thing. So we want to make sure that we have a compass at least to know where we're going. Now, what is the biggest killer of wealth? So that's your mistake. And so let's talk about what's causing this. The biggest issue, the issue here, and I see this a lot. I even was talking to one of my friends at church. And so she met someone and he has no idea about investing and stuff like that. And she was like, oh my goodness, he doesn't understand. I'm like, well, the biggest issue is lack of financial literacy. And I'm happy that you are here on this channel watching, because that says you are interested. You have acknowledged that, okay, this is an issue, right? And so you're like, okay, I need to learn more. And so that's why you're on this channel. That's why you're watching this. And I will be honest with you. A few years ago, I was not privy on a lot of the things that I know now. And to be honest, I am still not privy on a lot of things. And so as I learn them, I come to my channel and I share. And so a lack of financial literacy, that's a deep passion of mine, right? That's why I teach my courses. That's why I go and I do workshops across the country, because I think it's imperative. The only way that you can break free from poverty, or you can walk into your purpose of wealth, right, is to rid yourself of that lack of financial literacy. So you have to educate yourself, right? And so that is really the back burner why people buy stocks on emotions. They, oh, this stock is trending, I can go on and on. There's a stock that was, what was the name of that stock? Was it Tesla? You have Tesla, there's another one that was closer to that. Oh, NVIDIA. There were so many stocks. There was some other stocks after that as well that kept trending. And people would say, hey, you heard about this? And I'm like, yeah, I heard about it. But I'm not diving into the hype. Now, I'm not saying you can't research trends that are happening, but you have to do an extensive research to see if the portfolio is worth putting, or if the stock is worth putting on your portfolio. So you have to educate yourself, right? And so that is why financial literacy is going to be very imperative when it comes to you buying stocks and things of that nature. So one may ask, well, how do I refrain from, buying emotionally? And this is what I suggest. When it comes to investing, you have to educate yourself. There is no way around it. So I would say start with education. And so, this may be, a lot of us don't want to do this. Invest in yourself. Start with education. Invest in yourself. You can invest in yourself, right? So you can watch more videos like this. My channel has a lot of information about investing. You can read books. You can listen to podcasts. You can buy a course. You can join a Discord or a community. You can do a lot of different things to start educating yourself. I had one of my student participants. She joined my course. I believe it was one of my 6-week course. I don't know. I think it was a 6-week course. And after she was done with the course, she said her eyes were opened up, to the possibilities, to just how money works. And so, no, I'm not selling this. This is not a selling point. I haven't had that class in a long time. Well, if you're interested in the class, do let me know in the comments. I can run it back. But at any rate, so she said that her eyes were opened up. And so after my class, she went to do more classes to keep educating herself. And so that is how you will be able to make sound decisions when you learn the laws of the land. You learn how stock investments work, and you learn how the stock market works. So you want to make sure that you're educating yourself. That's really where you got to start. And I may do a video on the different books, because let me tell you something. I've read so many books, and oh, my eyes have been opened. But anyway, so Also, you want to create an investment plan. After you've educated yourself, you want to create a plan. A failure to plan is a plan to fail. And I also say, what is that? What do I say? Oh, if you don't have a plan for your money, someone else will, right? No, this is not my quote, but I love it. Create an investment plan. All right, that's going to be very important for you to do. And of course, you got to know why you're investing. Create a plan, come up with a goal, and set a timeline for it. And yeah, don't just do it because everybody else is doing it. And one thing that you can do, a lot of people make this mistake. I like to talk about automating your investments. Yeah, automate it, because you listen. I used to try to time the market. I used to be like, okay, I'm gonna go in on Fridays. And it didn't work out. And so life got busy for me. And yeah, no, it didn't work out. And so I just now I just set it and forget it. I have time. So I do my DRIP, my dividend reinvestment plan. And you can also automatically transfer money over to your brokerage account, and you can automatically have it invest for you into a particular stock or stocks or whatever the case may be. So I strongly recommend automating your investments, because a lot of people, you're following the hype and you are listening to people and what people have to say. You're following the hype, right? And so you don't have a strategic plan. You want to make sure you're automating it so you're not trying to time the market. I mean, if you have time on your hand, you can definitely time the market. But most of us, i.e. myself, I don't have time to sit there and time the market. And I've tried to time the market, and by the time I look, the stock may have dipped. And by the time I go back, it went back up and I missed the entry point. And I was just like, it's too much. I don't have time. Let me let this go. Okay. So yeah, automate, set it and forget it. I am a firm believer on that. Now, of course, we can just do a recap here. That's it. I could go on and on with this. But yeah, let's do a quick recap. What you want to do is, let me come back on camera here. Here we go. Yeah. So yeah, the number one mistake is to buy emotionally. And we don't want to do that in 2026. So we're going to leave buying emotionally in 2025. And in 2026, we're going to what? Educate ourselves financially. So no more are we buying what's trending. No more are we investing without goals. And no more are we investing without a plan of how investment fits into our goals, right? Our goals for wealth. So what does that mean for us? We are going to start with educating ourselves. Yes, you have to educate yourself. That is very much what will combat the lack of financial literacy. Then you also want to create your personal investment plan. Why are you investing? Why do you need to invest? Why are you interested in investing, right? And of course, you want to automate your investments. Nobody has time. Well, a lot of us don't. If you have time, maybe I need to pay you to do mine. But also, there's some things that you also want to avoid. While we have the number one thing of buying impulsively, I've seen someone who, now I think I trash talk Robinhood a lot on here, but there is this concept where Robinhood, I probably need to do a separate video on this. Don't buy in debt. Okay. In the next video, I'll be talking about this buying in debt, because I've seen where Robinhood is giving you a loan to invest. Let me know if you know about this in the comments. Drop it in the comment section. Let me see if any of you know about this buying stocks with a loan from Robinhood. I think you're setting yourself up. But I'm going to go on another, this video is long enough. I'm going to go on another video and air that out. And I just want to see in the comments what you think. But at any rate, if you are leaving buying impulsively, buying on emotion in 2025, we need to see that in the chat. well, not in the chat, but in the comments down below. And yeah, if you would like to hear more about this, or if you have any friends who are interested in building your wealth, do like, share, and subscribe, because on this channel, my main focus is to bridge the wealth gap. And I do that by sharing knowledge here, because what? A lack of financial literacy will lead you to impulsive buying. So yes, do like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, see you.